Yes, madam. Actually, I have this question again about this. Yesterday we were talking about what reforms can we bring in, how can we sensitize people, right? So, and I was of the, and I thought that sexuality can be
Who's
one thing.
speaking? Rajat.
Rajat,
Ah,
yes.
yes, Rajat.
Sexuality can be one thing to start with. I was thinking about this entire topic, and I think why sexuality becomes important because it's the first point of contact. I mean, appearance and sexuality becomes your initial point of contact with a person who is not so-called male or female. So that's why I think sexuality has, I mean, upper hand when it comes to these markers like economics and social and whatever. I mean, apart from this. So, is it correct to say? I mean, it's just a question or a thought.
I'm not very clear, Rajat. What is the context in which you are raising this?
Okay.
Say that again.
Okay, so the thing is, so we have two genders, male and female, and then the society talks, we talk about the other gender, like transgenders or the transsexual people. So here I want to emphasize that appearance and then sexuality is the first point of contact which the so-called male or female has or conceives about the person of other gender. So that is why it becomes the point of the gate for to understand the transsexual people, if I am making sense.
I'm still not very clear as to what you're saying, but you know what my whatever unarticulated response is that when you say first point of contact among human beings, your first point of contact is from your birth. In fact, before the birth as well. When we are in the mother's womb, that's a point of contact with another. And that has got nothing to do with the appearance or with the sexuality. And when you are born, we again have a relationship of affection. And Lakshmi, who was the acid survivor, her daughter did not look at her appearance for her to relate to her. She still laughs at looking at her mother. So I'm not very sure that when you're referring to when it comes to puberty, there are certain hormonal changes which happen, which generates a sexual awareness about one's body, the points in the body which gives you sexual pleasure, the understanding that the pleasures is also can be derived with the another person's body as well. So the point we were talking about was that whether sexuality is an inherent or integral characteristics of being an adult human being. And if we say that it is true, that if in for the heterosexual men and women, we consider sexuality is normal and integral, then will that not be normal and integral for the intersex person, for the transsexual persons, for the hijras? So for all those other categories of persons, in case of NALSA, they said we are not dealing with this aspect. And the point I was making was that actually in Naz and Suresh Kaushal, the argument was only limited to sexuality and not to gender. So therefore, sexuality issue with the trans people was not under jurisdiction or under review by the Supreme Court. There was no reason for judges to say, we will not talk about this in this case. So certainly the thing they were not supposed to talk about was the homosexuality. And they collapsed the issue of in Suresh Kaushal was on homosexuality, not on transgender persons. So therefore, in my understanding, there was no reason for the judges to not talk about sexuality of this group of people. But because the understanding somewhere is, or it certainly was at one point of time, the only natural sex is penovaginal. Therefore, any sex which is not penovaginal is against the order of nature, and therefore the whole sexuality of the trans persons may be classified that in some cases. Therefore, you kind of do away with each one of them, even though some of the trans people may not be homosexual at all. So there was a sweeping statement made without actually examining the nitty-gritty of the issue. So that's what I'm sort of understanding, that perhaps that's what you're referring to.
uh, to that also, and to the discrimination which happens in the society, I mean in the societal level, when
Uh-huh.
the sort of otherness we create for the people of other gender, that I was also talking about. I mean, I was talking about that too.
Rajat, we create otherness even for the homosexual.
Right.
So it is not the gender. When we are talking about the reference to the word gender, we believe that heterosexuality is also the norm for the uh, in the construction of binary. And therefore, the people who prefer to have sex with the same sex people, they are also othered. They're also referred to that they are the other. So, but the two issues are independent of each other, because homosexuality are saying we want to have sexual preference with the person of our same sex. They're not talking gender at all. While in case of gender, it might be a transgender person who is homosexual, who is bisexual, who is heterosexual. But each one of, and they may be asexual as well, which is true for all the whole population as well. So the matter before the Supreme Court in Suresh Kaushal and earlier in Nas was only limited to sexual preference and not to transgender issues at all. They were not talking about transgender issue, the sexual preference issue of the transgender persons. The sexual preference issue was limited to men and women. It was not about the trans people at all. So the case was about trans people. And they still said, we are not dealing with that aspect. So they swept under the carpet the construction of a full human being as one of the characteristics of a complete human being, as an adult complete human being, is also the sexuality part of that person. So the judges have not addressed that issue. That was the only thing I was pointing out in that judgment. There's still something which you are not very,
No, no,
uh,
not right now.
oh, you still want to articulate. You're very welcome to.
Uh, this is one thing which you're telling. That's true. I mean, that's completely about the case, right? See, I'm thinking about the I mean, let's include. I mean, of course, the homosexual people are also included. I mean, I'm talking about the gays, which which the society has when we talk about someone who comes under the domain of unnatural sex. I mean, quote unquote unnatural. And the way of seeing these people, I mean, let's take the example of homosexuals are the people who have sex with the people of the same gender. They
No, don't use the word gender. Same
Okay,
sex.
I'm sorry,
Huh.
same sex, yes. So the gaze on these people and the gaze which the society has on the people who belong to transgender community, let's say for an example, becomes different because of the appearance
Yeah,
kicks in.
no. In case of gay, they may not appear different.
Yes,
They will be still looking the same persons.
right, but in
But otherness is, no, you are right to the extent that whether it is homosexual, there also in there's other people. Whether it is trans people, this is also in that there are other people, because they are not falling in the same category that we think are the normal human beings.
right.
So our categorization of normal is limited to heterosexual men and women.
Hmm.
To that extent, yes, it is true that what we say, otherness is seen in homosexuals, it is seen in the transgender persons as well. But when you say appearance, the set of people which are referred to as queer certainly is again a new term, a different term, but
Strange, yes.
some people, queer means it's a strange. So some people want to emphasize their transness or their uh, gay relationship. Their status as gay, they want to publicly declare by their appearance. So that also is otherness. But lot of gay and lesbian people, they do not appear different. They appear like any other quote unquote normal human being. But this whole definition of normal is something which we need to understand. And I kind of was talking to a group of persons with disability. So I said something about normal. And she said that this was a person on a wheelchair. All his life he has been on the wheelchair. So he said, "No, you think it's normal to walk, but for me, I've never seen that scenario. For me, normal is to be in the wheelchair, and that's for me it's normal. There's nothing abnormal about it because that is the only life I know." And then I did reflect that when I had lots of fractures at different points of time, I became disabled. So I know the difference between the facility which I enjoy when I'm able to walk and the obstacles I face when I was on a wheelchair or on the crutches. So a little step here and there will make my life very difficult. The disability for actually was for me because I am used to walking and then I'm not able to walk. A person who has never walked his or her life, for them, there is nothing abnormal about the way they live.
That's
But
their normal.
we classify that as abnormal. So the person who is gay or lesbian or homosexual or trans, for them that's normal. But we classify that as abnormal or against the order of nature because of our classification of what constitute normal. We always say that creating having braille notices is special. We say creating ramps is a special facility provided for the persons with disability. Whether each one of us has a disability, all of us, every single human being which doesn't think that we are disabled, but we have a disability. We have a disability of not being able to see in the dark, and we have made arrangements for lights in all our buildings. So it is an arrangement we have made for ourselves, thinking that we are not disabled. But we have a disability. The blind person doesn't need the light. So looking at his standard from his perspective, provision of lights in all the housing structures is a special measure taken for the people who are sighted. So it's a perspective change that from whose perspective you are defining what is normal. If you define it from the person who has got mobility, that person defines the inability to move as abnormal. But the person who has never walked, for him, that is a special ability some people have. For him, normal is what he is going through. So, therefore, this whole construction that whether heterosexuality is normal, heterosexuality may be required when there was no science for progeny, but heterosexuality is not required for pleasure. And therefore, if your emphasis is on the only purpose of sexual relationships is to have progeny, then all other sex is unnatural. All other sex which is indulged into only for pleasure, all that becomes unnatural against the order of nature. Because the order of nature was that the reason for sex is to produce children. So if you are having sex not for producing children, then it is against the order of nature. And that is where the whole difficulty, that how do you determine what is against the order of nature? And if we say that no, pleasure is as much part of order of nature in sexual activity, then homosexuality does nothing more than that. They also derive pleasure. The heterosexual also derive pleasure. And you can always have children with surrogacy, you can have them with IVF, you can have them 1,000 other ways, you can adopt your children. So progeny has not taken a prime seat in our discourse on sexual intercourse. In fact, after the rape, if a person becomes pregnant, they are very legally authorized to abort that fetus. So we are not saying that the only purpose of sex is to have children. But if you look at the natural consequence of that one, without any protection, without anything else, the likelihood of progeny is there. But if that is not the only purpose, and we recognize sexual activity for the purpose of pleasure also, then there's nothing against the order of nature in all other categories of pleasure. So the otherness does happen, and otherness happens to anything which is different.
Okay.
We have this, the old story, Andho mein Kana Raja. So even though the majority is Andha, the one person which has sight claims authority, even though he's a minority. So this is not saying that the Kana is an exception. Kana is still in that story, still made the king. That if you have got slightly more ability, but so many other abilities you do not have. We do not have the ability to learn by listening. We have got cases where a blind woman is raped. She can identify the identification parade for her. She will hear the person walk and will identify who was my rapist. That ability we do not have with having the sights. So if our eyes are closed and we are raped, we will not be able to identify by their foot sound. So there are different people with different abilities, but we have created definitions which leads to otherness of a group of people. Whether these are white supremacy, whether it is Brahminic supremacy, whether it is male supremacy, we have all created that the other is less than me. Okay, anything else? Ankit? Yes,
Ma'am,
Ankit?
I still have a question regarding Arun Kumar, and I keep coming back to it.
Sure.
So I cannot really understand as to what this case really seeks to achieve. And I was reading it once again yesterday, and on paragraph number 15, it
Okay,
says that seen.
let me open. Let me open. Yeah, read, but I'll open.
It says that seen in the light of the march of law, the expression bride occurring in section 5 of the Hindu Marriage Act will have to include within its meaning not only a woman but also a trans woman.
Yeah.
It would also include an intersex person slash transgender person who identifies herself as a woman. The only
Which
consideration
para you
is
said? Which para did you say?
15. 15.
15. Yeah. Read. Continue.
The last line is the only consideration is how the person perceives herself.
Yeah.
So, in this case, a trans woman who chooses to identify herself as a woman
Hmm.
is is termed as a woman for the purpose of Section 5 of the Hindu Marriage Act.
Right.
But if the situation is reverse, that there is a woman who chooses to biologically she is a woman chooses to identify herself as a man,
Hmm.
can uh, can he or she marry a man? So then this would
No.
not
No,
count.
no, 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 no. No, you have to be very clear. You are saying that this woman thinks of herself as a man,
Hmm.
right? So then she can marry a woman. Even though she is a woman, she can marry another woman because she thinks she is a man.
But
She's a trans
biologically
person.
she is a woman. So
Yeah.
what should we look? What should should we look the
No, no, no.
perception of that
Ankit,
person
Ankit,
or the
Ankit,
biology?
Ankit, in this case, we do not know Srija is biologically who.
Hmm.
Whether biologically she is a male, is she a female, or is she an intersex person? SRS certainly has not happened.
Hmm.
There's no reference, so we are assuming. It may be also that no, because the context of the judges have also given that SRS has been to be prohibited. So it may be that she was born as an intersex child and then was went through an SRS as a child, as an infant, and was made into a man. But she thinks she's a woman. We do not know.
Hmm.
Factual information is not there in this case. So your objection, it may very well be that she actually is a man. Because trans includes a biological male but thinks as a female and but perceives herself to be a female. She's in that category, then she's a man is marrying a man. When we call it what we call as an objectively speaking. Judges here are saying we will look objectively. Objectively, she thinks no. Subjectively, she thinks she is a girl. Therefore, we'll deal with her as a girl. We will not ask any more questions. This is what the judge have done, na? So it may be substantively speaking, subjectively speaking, no, objectively, as an outsider, we can think that, okay, this is a biological male marrying a biological male. But subjectively, looking at from their perspective, one of them thinks I'm a woman, the other thinks I'm a man married. The similar will happen that a woman, a biological woman who thinks that she is a psychological man, NASA says you can be a man. For a heterosexual marriage to happen in that case, she will have to marry a woman. He will not be able to marry a man. If she marries a man, then she will marry as a woman only. She will not marry as a man. Yes, nobody is marrying as a man, or no, they are not marrying as two men or two women. They are marrying as man and woman. One of them thought herself to be a woman, and the judge says she has the right to declare herself as woman.
So the court will subjectively see whether that person, what is the perception of that person about himself or herself,
In this
and
case, this
not
is what the judges
the
have done.
body.
This is what the judge has done. Whether other judges will follow suit or not, we do not know. But in this case, they have not used this word, but we know that the judges do use this test of objective knowledge and subjective knowledge. So in this case, subjective knowledge in this case is of two types. One, this person may know that I'm biological male. The other subjective knowledge of this person is that knows mentally I am a woman. But because NALSA gives her the choice to declare herself as a woman, the judge says if legally she can have all her documents as a woman, then I'm not going to get into a medical examination of her body to find out whether she's a woman or not. The judges are not going that direction. And NALSA doesn't ask us to do that. NALSA actually says, which has not been followed in the legislation, NALSA actually says that without undergoing SRS, you can choose your gender. So the marriage proposal, they are saying we will not go by the sex of the person, but by the gender of the person. So gender-wise, she thinks she's a woman. She might have a sex of a male. They say we will not ask that question. NALSA doesn't ask us to ask that question. So having taken that line, they are not at all into same-sex marriage. The Arjun judgment does not focus on same-sex marriage. It is still heterosexual marriage. But how do you determine the heterosexuality of the couple is by reference to NALSA. Does that make sense?
How is it that some judgment touches only a certain part and leaves the other part? How can this be? The NALSA touches the gender part, it leaves the sexuality part. Now facing your the sexuality part, it leaves the marriage part.
Yeah, because judges see there when we talk about law, what is actually what is the activity, what is the purpose, when what is the driving force in making a law? We say the driving force is the desire to do justice, but that's never true. Most of the time it's not true. By the legislature, it is a political exercise, balancing the rights of different pressure groups to secure, and also to ensure that I will come back to power. And look at Trump's impeachment. The people he's on the Republican. So on the Republican side, some people have walked over to the other side to vote against, saying that he should be impeached. But he will not be impeached because there are a lot of other people. They need 10 more to come onto the side that no, he should be convicted for the impeachment. He should be actually impeached. The verdict should be. Because they still believe that Trump still has got a lot of political power in the supporters of Republican Party. So for them to come back to power, to get elected again, they need to be seen as staunch Republicans, even though they might think that this person has done really wrong. So it's a political exercise, not there, even though the party have said vote by your conscience, but they are looking at their political gains. Political parties also decide, if I make this law, will I come back to power again or not? And how is that determined? By reference to who are the pressure groups. So especially on the social justice issues, there are always, and especially if you talk about transgender person, there is this whole community who is saying recognize. There are supporters for this community. Then there are people who believe, oh, these people are all queer, these are all abnormal people. You cannot promote this, you cannot regularize them. And there's resistance to that change. So now there are two groups apparently, one which is asking for change, another group which is no, saying no change. So what will the government do? The government will bring a law to satisfy this group of people. But it will be framed in such a manner that there will be no impact actually. They will get no rights. They will not actually get the right to marry, right to housing, right to anything. Everything which can deny the other group which is resisting, it will not affect their status, but it will satisfy the desire for bringing a law. It's a political exercise. When the judges decide, certain judges don't have to come back to power. And in our case, in our country, they're not even elected and they are independent. But judges also understand their interaction, the tussle. When you look at Shah Banu, so the judges all out. Nano, chup ho jao, pass it. So the judges, Shah Banu gave a judgment in favor of the woman. Then the opposite lobby, the Muslim lobby, forced the government to bring out the legislation, undoing the law. Then they have to go through again, and ultimately, what is that case where again they have actually substantively they have restored Shah Banu?
Daniel Latifi.
Daniel Latifi. So in Daniel Latifi, so this was a tussle going back and forth. So somewhere judges also understand that when they are treading on a field which is very socially sensitive, they will not want, in this case, they had choices to say that because this case is already pending, therefore we will not deal with this aspect. So judges chose not to do that. They thought at least something we can give. We may not be able to give the whole thing because touching on a subject which is already pending, even though it's on the periphery of this discussion, they still thought it better to deal with that aspect. And many a time when you read judgments, 1 second, I have to quieten my dogs. No, idhar aao. इधर आओ बस कोई नहीं आ जाओ आ जाओ आ जाओ इधर आओ इधर आओ so the judges I don't know where I was
social sensitive issue.
So they do know, the judges also are aware that it's a very socially sensitive issue. Therefore, tread carefully. Start with little. Don't go all hog. And okay, the other thing I was saying was that many a times you will, when you read judgments, it would seem that the judges have made up their mind which way to go. And then they will find all the arguments to support that position. And in my judicial training time, I did come across judges who said that, no, we are very open to all the argument, but at some stage, we get convinced that this side is the right one. The moment we have reached that, then automatically we start picking up information which is going to support this decision of mine. Rather than being able to remain neutral till the very end, they at some stage decide that. When you look at this case, Vardarajan, judges very categorically had decided they were not going to punish this man. So what did they pick on in that case? They picked on the on the age of the woman. She's only 2 months less. Education of the woman. They talked about there was no taking. Is there any discussion on enticing in that judgment? There's nothing on enticing. But do you think it is possible for a girl to leave her house without there having been no conversation about he promising to marry? The boy in this case was a son of a very senior IPS officer. And he has done very honorable thing. He goes to the temple, he registers their intention to marry. Then they spend some time together and he's still committed to continue with the girl. So suppose the same circumstance, everything was the same, excepting that after 10 days, he abandoned the girl and went away. Do you think Vardarajan's decision would have been still the same? Everything else being the same, excepting that he left the girl abandoned the girl after 3 days or 2 nights or something. Judges would not have then talked about, then they would have said, no, she could have not left the house without a conversation on enticing. So what information they pick up and what they do not is also indicative of what is happening in the judge's mind. So in this case, the judge is very convinced that this should be legitimized. So he's finding reasons for doing that. If you start asking this question of going out, what is the biological category? One is then that is violating the Nalsa condition. Nalsa said, we will not look at the biology of the person. So he's very categorically following Nalsa. And he thinks it is just, and also I think the arguments presented before him, he was convinced that this is correct. You cannot penalize people or not allow them to have normal life. Because what is happening in their bedroom is their personal story. Why should it be? This whole discussion about whether homosexuality should be an offense or not, the Hofellinden debate. No, not Hofel. What was that committee which sat on this whole question, whether homosexuality should be an offense or not in England? I'm forgetting just the title of the, not McNaughton is Insanity. There was this committee which kind of looked into this question, and the whole
Le Brochet. Some Le Brochet named.
No. So
it is mentioned in Arvind Narayan.
No, there is a.
It is mentioned in Arvind Narayan.
But the name I remember is a different one. That may be this also. So the whole point is that marriage, when it comes to the sexual partnership between the parties, is a very, very personal, private affair, not done in the public sphere. And the Home Guard report yesterday says that only that showing affection, which is not obscene, is not, there's nothing wrong. Just because you are a same-sex partner doesn't mean that merely because you touch hands, it will be obscene. So anything which is not permissible to heterosexual couple will not be permissible to the homosexual couple also. But if the heterosexual couples can walk hand in hand, so should be permission to the other one as well. So therefore, if the judge is convinced that I am not that category of person who will say that this is not, he certainly apparently believes in a privacy of the parties. So having taken that position, then he's picking up all the arguments which will go in his, in support of the position he has taken. And certainly, I think I certainly, otherwise also the judge is perfectly right. Because Nalsa does say it will be illegal to insist on SRS. It is illegal to insist on SRS. What does that mean? We will let your body be as it is. We will not bother about your body. We will only say what you think about yourself. What is your perception about yourself? And that I do not find any, I think that the judge has gone in the right direction in not asking that question. If he was to ask that question, he would have created a controversy unnecessarily. And he would not, the judgment would have taken a lot more backlash. So therefore, being silent on that is much better. No? What is the discomfort about the judgment? Suppose they are both actually man and man. What is the reason for the discomfort? Suppose Srija is actually a biological male. Then what is our...
The discomfort, there is no such discomfort, but it is right from the first line, as the judge says that he is not doing something new. So what the perception that I get is that it is not in a way legalizing or normalizing transsexual marriages, and it doesn't talk about homosexual marriages, but it kind of reiterates that only man and woman can marry. Woman may be trans woman, but she has to identify herself as a woman.
Yeah.
Then only she can marry.
No, because Ankit, we have to again understand who is a woman is the question in this case. So there might be a range of categories. One is the woman, a person who was born as a female at time of birth. So that's a woman. IPC also says so. Then there may be another person who was born as intersex and some surgery took place. She was made into a woman. She was not born as a woman. She was born as an intersex person, but because of surgery, she was made into a woman and she thinks she's a woman. We will have no problem with her marrying a man. Then you might have another person who was born, when say intersex, no, there might be whole range of intersex person. One is where a person has got half the organ of men and half the organs of the female. You might have two organs of one kind and one organ of one category. You might have organs which are not clearly identifiable whether this is male or female. So the judges or the doctors decide at that point of time, if they decide to do the surgical intervention, to convert this intersex child into male or a female. This child, some children may go along with their body, some children may not go along with their body. Then there's the fourth category of a person who was born biologically a male, but thinks that she is a female. You will have a fifth category, born as a male, undergoes SRS, becomes a woman. Now, will you say that the only first category of woman is a woman, or the first two categories are women, all others are not women? It's not possible, na? After NALSA. So there's all these other categories of people. This is what Arun Kumar is opening up. That whether you are biologically male or female, we will not ask your sex in determining whether you are a woman or not. We will ask the question, do you perceive yourself as a woman? We are not going to say undergo medical treatment, undergo medical checkup to find out you are a woman or not. Suppose there is a person who, from the child, the parents never objected, was brought up as a girl. Everybody knows her as a girl only. Nobody lays their private parts, no? You don't take off clothes before marriage to find out are you biologically man or a woman. So somebody declares I'm a woman. Everybody thinks that she's a woman. And then later on, she turns out to be a male biologically. We will say this is a case of cheating. The marriage will be invalid because she was not declaring that I am a male but think I'm a woman. But a trans woman is saying so, that I'm not born as a woman, but I think I'm a woman. So trans woman is not cheating. She's not presenting herself to be a woman and the other person believes she's a woman without knowing that she's a trans woman. So there is a difference in the marriages of a person who claims to be a woman without declaring I'm a trans woman. So this person is saying I'm a trans woman. She's not saying that I was born this way, that way, but says I think I'm a woman. And she says that's enough for us. And that has been the question under the legislation that we have, which now are saying that if you want identification change, etc., then you need to go through the SRS. And there are other questions as well, but that's where the problem is. Our discomfort comes because we do believe, somewhere in our internal conscience, the whole thing is that they have to be man or woman to have a marriage. That is because we consider marriage as a unit which will lead to progeny, which will lead to, the family the husband and wife in our sense is the sexual category. Judge is saying it is not only a sexual category, it's a gender category also. So if a man marries a biological woman and she is a high category of the man, tomboy. Biologically, she's perfectly fine. She's not even saying that I'm a man, but she's a tomboy. So our men, when you look at the matrimonials, what do you say? Homely. She's not homely. So she doesn't fit into the category called woman. They should be shy. They should be this. There's this whole range of expectation. So a biological woman who thinks herself as a woman but does not fit into the category of woman, will she be declared not a woman? You think she's a woman despite being a tomboy? So therefore, we are traditionally not been objecting to the traits of the person. As long as she is biological, male, female, we are okay with that. But now we have made a progress on that level, saying that it is not only your sex which will determine you are a man or a woman, but your gender perception, your identity of your gender will also determine. And that's a new thinking. Arun Kumar adopts that to the hilt. That I'm not going. So there was nothing he could have gained by saying, one, he would have violated NALSA direction, and he is following NALSA. If he said, no, undergo medical checkup for me to see whether you can be married or not, there was no need for him to do that. And he didn't do that. And certainly the other thing we are saying that judges do pick and leave certain aspects of the argument, sometimes cases, sometimes facts. And as lawyers also, we emphasize on certain facts to project my case. It's not that I am denying I'm not telling a lie. When we what we call it, lawyering. Lawyering is not about telling a lie. It is not about suppressing your facts. The ability of a lawyer is to present facts in such a manner so that the judge will think that the way you perceive the facts are the right way. And it's a question of, are you able to convince the judge that your perspective is the right way to express? It will lead to justice, it will lead to betterment, it will lead to peace and harmony. So when we take the example that, there's a hill and there's a cottage in the middle of the hill. From where are you perceiving the cottage? If you are in the cottage, you will say it is midway the hill. If you are at the bottom of the hill, you will say halfway up the hill. Bottom of the bed, halfway down the hill. All the three are saying the same thing. But what will be the best perspective to describe the hut? How will you make sure that whether the best perspective is to be describing it when you are in the hut, you are outside the hut, you are at the bottom of the hill, you are on another hill? It's where the perspective change will come in. If you are able to convince the judge that from whose angle you are talking about. So this whole case is pegged on NALSA. Constantly they are referring to NALSA, and then they have gone further than that as well. So this is showing the judge's readiness to accept that he's apparently a believer in freedom of choice. And he has got a peg in NALSA. He has used NALSA to say, no, people should be free. But he has not crossed the line to say, I will now recognize homosexual marriages. Because if you start asking the question, are you male by body or you are female by body, are you intersex by body, then he's dredging on the area of homosexuality, same-sex marriages, which he's not wanting to, and there's no need for him to. Because this was not a case like the 3 cases which are pending in the Delhi High Court, where people are claiming a right to marry the same-sex person. These 2 were not claiming that right at all. They were very categorical. I think he's a woman. She's a woman. She thought she was a woman. The judge also said she was a woman. Which the lower court, the registrar and the pundits were not ready to believe and to agree. That's what, for me, that's what it is about. Anybody else who has any query? I'm trying to locate the okay, let's have a look at this one and see how we feel about it. Oh, I'll have to go through this whole rigmarole, changing lots of things.
Transgenders, better known as Hijras in India, are not like their counterparts elsewhere in the world. Indians consider them sacred, touched by God. Their blessings are auspicious and generally accompanied by their signature clapping. They are often invited to bless newborns and newlyweds. In fact, most Hijras make their living by exchanging blessings for cash at traffic signals. With the help of Hijras, we wanted to educate reckless motorists about a very basic safety procedure they constantly ignored.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए। ये है वो अटेंशन प्लीज। अगर पायलट के जैसे गाड़ी चला रहे हो तो पायलट के जैसा सेफ्टी भी चाहिए। तेरी गाड़ी में ऑक्सीजन मास्क नहीं है, कुर्सी के नीचे लाइफ जैकेट नहीं है, मगर सीट बेल्ट तो है, तो पहना क्यों नहीं रे? मैं सिखा दूं क्या? इधर से बेल्ट ले लो और अपने बॉडी के सामने से खींचो और जांघों के बाजू में ऐसा फिट कर लो। जब तक क्लिक नहीं सुनाई दे, इतना गोरा गोरा मुंह एक्सीडेंट के बाद अच्छा नहीं लगेगा। ए नॉटी गर्ल, तेरे बॉयफ्रेंड को बोल दे सीट बेल्ट ऐसा पहनने का। ए चिकना माल, वीडियो मत ले, सीट बेल्ट लगा। सीट बेल्ट पहनो, दुआ ले लो।
I don't think you were able to see.
Yes, ma'am, we could.
You could see?
The initial and the last part. So you will have to keep the video on in your screen as well. Then only we can see.
Okay. No, I had the video on, but I wasn't sure when I'm seeing the full video, are you able to see?
When you can see, then only we can see.
Okay.
Since you're presenting your screen.
So I'll do it one more time.
Transgenders, better known as Hijras in India, are not like their counterparts elsewhere in the world. Indians consider them sacred, touched by God. Their blessings are auspicious and generally accompanied by their signature clapping. They are often invited to bless newborns and newlyweds. In fact, most Hijras make their living by exchanging blessings for cash at traffic signals. With the help of Hijras, we wanted to educate reckless motorists about a very basic safety procedure they constantly ignored.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए। ये है वो अटेंशन प्लीज। अगर पायलट के जैसे गाड़ी चला रहे हो तो पायलट के जैसा सेफ्टी भी चाहिए। तेरी गाड़ी में ऑक्सीजन मास्क नहीं है, कुर्सी के नीचे लाइफ जैकेट नहीं है, मगर सीट बेल्ट तो है, तो पहना क्यों नहीं रे? मैं सिखा दूं क्या? इधर से बेल्ट ले लो और अपने बॉडी के सामने से खींचो और जांघों के बाजू में ऐसा फिट कर लो। जब तक क्लिक नहीं सुनाई दे, इतना गोरा गोरा मुंह एक्सीडेंट के बाद अच्छा नहीं लगेगा। ए नॉटी गर्ल, तेरे बॉयफ्रेंड को बोल दे सीट बेल्ट ऐसा पहनने का। ए चिकना माल, वीडियो मत ले, सीट बेल्ट लगा, सीट बेल्ट पहनो, दुआ ले लो।
So what do you think of the video?
Was this the Delhi government initiative? I mean, this entire thing.
Delhi government, but I think this was Bombay, but Delhi has also done it. Our students did participate in some of the campaigns.
Right, because I met one of them here in Delhi.
You-
In Noida. Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, I met one of them in Noida. They have their own NGO over there, Basira Samajik Sansthan.
Okay.
So
I'm not very
she-
sure which city it is,
I
but
think
I
this
do
is
know
Delhi.
that, but I do know that Delhi police did, no, not Delhi, the DSLSA was doing some projects in which they had asked our students to also go and participate, working with the transgender persons. And when they think transgender, they were talking about hijras only, not the whole other range. What's your thought? And what's your feeling?
I just loved it, ma'am. Very entertaining and educational as well at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Ma'am, I think it could be a one way to incorporate transgender in mainstream society.
Mm-hmm.
And ma'am, in fact, I want to add one more point. In fact, इनमें से एक जो ट्रांसजेंडर है वो रोज हैं. क्योंकि एक ना मैम राज्यसभा चैनल पे एक डिबेट आ रही थी जब नालसा जजमेंट आया था तो उसमें एक रोज हैं जो विप्रो में काम करती हैं. वो ट्रेनिंग देती हैं, कम्युनिकेशन स्किल सिखाती हैं. तो इनमें से एक मुझे लगा वो हैं रोज. तो मतलब एक जो इनके बारे में जो लोगों की जो कंसेप्शन है उस कंसेप्शन को भी तोड़ने का एक तरीका मैम ये बहुत अच्छा है. मतलब
Any critic? Anything wrong with this video?
Ma'am, I believe the background music which was being played, it signifies that the Hijra people are being made a matter of laughter or maybe ridicule, and people were laughing at them. It's just an thought.
No, I thought that the people who were shown were laughing, etc. They're all curious and they're all amused by what's being done. And certainly the positives which have been already pointed out, that the positives are that they have been made very visible and they have been presented as instructors. They've been presented as respectable, very, very well dressed, very properly makeup and look at their clothes and they've got the name tags and all. So that's very officious looking appearance and the way we'll say that, a class of people are being represented, but at the same time they are also using their classical belt, their clap also. So in a way, reinforcing their classical cultural background as well. So for me, it's a mixed feeling that at one level it is making it more visible, and they are being now integrated into training programs. So using them as a conscious choice to say that no, they have to be mainstream. It cannot be that ordinary people will do the campaigns and the other people will not do the government campaigns. So that's a very forward-looking thing. At the same time, whether you want to emphasize their uniqueness in terms of their clapping thing, which have been used here very much, and some of the language also, chikna and the words they will use in their colloquial language, that's also been used. So it has got both pluses and minuses there. We have another video which we don't have time to look at today, but to try and locate it on your YouTube channels, which is about the national anthem by Hijras. And they have presented. There are lots of other videos as well, there's one which I really love. Again, this whole thing, the time required for changing it all. But now I know I'll perhaps share that one also.
The third gender, ignored by most, tolerated by some, misunderstood by all. In India, the Hijras are a community almost in exile, standing out at traffic signals after failing to blend in, knocking on our windows, in the hope for some kindness and perhaps a smile. But when they don't get either, they keep their chin up and find a way to simply be happy.
Crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Yeah, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Because I'm happy, अगर माँ तुम्हें डांटे, अगर बॉस तुम्हें काटे, जब गर्लफ्रेंड फालतू झाड़े और महंगाई कपड़े फाड़े, हो नेता भी चोर सारे या पुलिस भी बटवा मारे, पेट्रोल मोर महंगा दिन सारे, बीबी मांगे आसमान से तारे। सब रब दे बंदे 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 सब रब दे बंदे
आओ बजाओ ताली, क्योंकि सिक्स पैक बैंड के साथ में मैं आ रहा हूं बहुत जल्दी।
If you're happy and you know it,
तो बजाओ ताली
और लाइक, सब्सक्राइब और शेयर करें हमारे वीडियो को।
ए राजू लाइक करना।
ब्रुक बॉन्ड रेड लेबल, स्वाद अपनेपन का।
I will leave you with this video and your thoughts, and we will meet on Monday.
Thank you, ma'am.
You can
Thank you,
just
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
could you see the second part, or when I did switch it off, then you couldn't see, you could already hear. So that I shared, but I think I
Only here. And we could only hear the last part, but
the part, yeah, because I
video
thought
was
it just stopped, but then it came Rab De Bande, and that was a nice part. But you can check it on the YouTube, see the rest.
yes.
Yeah. Stop recording.